Hi, my name is Nicole. Welcome to my channel, Travel to Money. In this video, I am going to talk about why you should consider not traveling with many toiletries. But if you're someone with a period who regularly uses tampons, you might consider bringing them with you. If you are new here, I have created this channel to help you learn about how to travel, adventure, and have fun on the road to financial independence. I have traveled the world, paid off a house in Spain, and I've made big moves toward financial independence. I believe that the road to financial freedom can and should be fun. I hope that you'll subscribe and join me on this journey, no matter where you are starting from. So today we're going to have a conversation about toiletries for travel. I feel like my experiences span the entire spectrum. I am generally not the most advanced planner when it comes to short trips. Unfortunately, I can be that person who packs way too much because I don't plan far enough in advance or do enough research. But when it comes to long-term travel, I have almost overplanned when it comes to packing. Either way, there is something I have learned, and that is that for the most part, I don't need to take many toiletries with me when I travel anywhere. First of all, with travel restrictions to liquids and gels, many toiletries would have to be super small, or it means that you'll be required to check a bag. And even if you do check a bag, if you have heavy bottles of shampoo, conditioner, body wash, and more, you might be pushing the weight limit and also lugging around a lot of unnecessary stuff. If you only pack a carry-on, even the small toiletries can add unnecessary weight and take up space that you could be using for other things. Most hotels, Airbnbs, and just about any place you stay will have at least the basics of shampoo and body wash. So if you need something for a day or two while you get your bearings, you should generally be fine. When I travel, I try to book flights that will get me in early enough to get to a grocery store before they close. This allows me to buy toiletry essentials right away. And coffee, because we all know that's also an essential. Another reason to buy toiletries once you arrive somewhere is that if you are traveling to another country outside of the US, the toiletries are likely going to be a lot less expensive, which is a bonus as well. Even though I've gotten to the point that I don't travel with most toiletries, I've also learned that there are a few things you might want to consider taking. I had become very confident that I could find all of the toiletries that I needed no matter what country I visited. But that did turn out to be a mistake, specifically concerning tampons and deodorant. In one country I visited, roll-on deodorant is like the only thing they use. I can't stand the way that roll-on deodorant feels, and I had to look everywhere before finally finding a deodorant that worked for me. For the last few years, I've moved to using a natural deodorant, and they are not all created equally. This is one thing I will make room for in my suitcase. The other thing that turned out to be a mistake was making the assumption that I could find tampons just about anywhere. There have been a couple of countries where I really struggled to find tampons, and in those countries, if I did find them, it was usually the kind that come without any sort of an applicator. From an environmental standpoint, that's great, but I wasn't mentally prepared for that. Speaking of tampons, if you travel with them in your bag, be prepared to be questioned. I remember I was leaving Spain and going to Romania. When I was going through the security line, the attendant, who thankfully was a female, ended up having to basically go through my entire carry-on. She pulled a tampon out of my bag, held it up, and was just looking at it. Then she asked me what it was, but there was a bit of a language barrier. When she realized what it was, her eyes got really big and she was like, "Oh," and quickly put it back. I was so embarrassed, but we had a little laugh about it and moved on. While we're on the topic of tampons, I should also mention that sewage systems in other parts of the world were developed long before the ones that we use in the US. In many countries, the sewage pipes are only one half of the size of the sewage pipes that we are accustomed to. In most places in Europe specifically, and probably the majority of the rest of the world, you should not flush tampons down the toilet. I know it sounds a bit gross, but you need to put them in a trash can. If you are staying at an Airbnb, you can end up costing the owner hundreds or even thousands of dollars if you flush anything other than toilet paper. I have learned this lesson personally in my house in Spain as well. So if you see a little sign that says not to flush anything down the toilet, then don't flush anything down the toilet. As a matter of fact, there are also places I've stayed, such as Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, where you can't even flush toilet paper. Everything goes into the trash can. It can be hard to break those flushing habits, but it's really important to respect those rules. If you are staying somewhere and they haven't specified, make sure that you ask about it. It may be something the owner hasn't even thought to mention in a listing because in a lot of other countries, it's normal not to flush anything down the toilet. You don't want to end up with major sewage issues while you're in the middle of an Airbnb stay or something that costs another person a ton of money. We should all want to be responsible travelers who are respectful of cultural norms. Okay, let's get back to the toiletries for a moment. So, I don't travel with shampoo, conditioner, body wash, lotion, or any of the basics. Now, it is true that you may not be able to find a particular brand that you normally use. One of the things about living in the US is that we have an inordinate amount of options for everything. Of course, you don't realize that until you travel. A good example is candy. In the US, you have every type of M&M you could possibly think of. But generally, when you travel, you will find peanut M&Ms or regular M&Ms. And that's it. Peanut butter? Nope. Pretzel? Not likely. Brownie? Forget about it. Another example is white paint. In the US, if you want white paint, you'll need to look through 20 different shades of white to decide which one you want. When I went shopping for white paint in Spain, all I had to find was white paint. There's only one color white. In some ways, you might miss the options, but it does give a simplicity to things when you don't have to stand there and choose between 15 or 20 different options. And you also might want to have Google Translate ready on your phone. Generally, when I go on my first shopping trip after arriving somewhere, I plan to spend an extra 30 minutes in the store just reading and translating labels. It takes just a bit longer to get the hang of what to look for. Toothpaste is another thing that I usually take with me, but it's because I use an all-natural toothpaste. If you use a regular toothpaste, that would be something you can easily find as well once you've arrived at your travel location. Fortunately, when I've taken regular sized deodorant and toothpaste, they've never had me remove them as a liquid or a gel when I've had them in a carry-on bag going through airport security. So that's been really helpful. Even though it's not technically a toiletry, a washcloth or loofah might be something you want to take with you. I'm not sure why washcloths aren't really a thing in other parts of the world, but they are hard to find. I was really surprised when I first traveled Europe and every Airbnb would only have a bath towel and a hand towel, but not a washcloth. I looked in grocery stores, home stores, and any other place I could think of, but washcloths were nowhere to be found. It's a good thing to bring with you, but make sure you also have some sort of small bag for wet items in case you have to pack quickly after you shower. I hope this video has made you somewhat confident that you will be able to find what you need and that you don't need to pack every little thing in your suitcase. But let me know what your travel experience has been like specific to toiletries. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to join me every Sunday where travel and adventure build financial freedom. I can't wait to see where your dreams will take you.